What if one wrong prediction changes everything at UFC Vegas 150? Is Renato Moicano really being underestimated? Or is Chris Duncan about to prove he belongs at the top? Can experience overcome pressure? Or will youth dominate the night? Which fight hides the biggest upset no one is talking about? And are the betting favorites actually safe or walking into danger? From explosive knockouts to silent submission threats, every fight on this card has a story, but only a few will end the way we expect. So the real question is, who's winning and who's getting exposed tonight? Renato Moicano versus Chris Duncan. This main event is a classic veteran versus rising contender storyline, but the numbers tell a very different story. Renato Moicano comes in with a record of 27-1, known for his elite Brazilian jiu-jitsu and submission threats. But here's the problem. His recent form has dipped, losing back-to-back fights and showing declining durability. On the other side, Chris Duncan is riding a 4-fight win streak, bringing aggressive pressure, higher striking output, and well-rounded finishing ability. Statistically, Duncan lands more strikes per minute, 5.02 versus 4.17, and he's more active in both striking and grappling exchanges. Moicano still has the edge in defense and experience, but his takedown game isn't dominant enough to control a fighter like Duncan consistently. Betting odds heavily favor Duncan at around -175, while Moicano sits as the underdog around +145. But here's the twist. If Moicano survives early chaos and drags this fight to the ground, he can absolutely steal it with a submission. However, most analysts across platforms are backing Duncan's pace and finishing ability. Prediction: Renato Money Moicano shocks everyone, wins via late submission. Co-main, Virna Jandiroba versus Tabatha Ricci. This fight is pure grappler versus grappler, but with very different styles. Virna Jandiroba is one of the most dangerous submission artists in the women's division. Ranked higher and more experienced, she thrives when the fight hits the ground. Tabatha Ricci, however, is younger, more explosive, and far more dynamic on the feet. Jandiroba's game is simple: close distance, secure takedowns, and hunt submissions. Ricci, meanwhile, mixes striking with opportunistic grappling, making her much harder to predict. Betting odds slightly favor Jandiroba at around -135, showing how close this fight really is. Across predictions, this fight is nearly split. Some experts favor Jandiroba's control, while others believe Ricci's athleticism and evolution will be the difference. The key factor? Cardio and control. If Jandiroba dominates early grappling exchanges, she wins. But if Ricci keeps it standing, she takes over. Prediction: Tabatha Ricci wins via decision. Speed and versatility edge out grappling control. Yakhyaev versus Ribeiro. This is one of the most one-sided fights on paper. Abdulrahman Yakhyaev enters as a massive betting favorite, around -1,800, which tells you everything about expectations here. Yakhyaev is a pressure machine, young, aggressive, and relentless with both striking and wrestling. His style overwhelms opponents quickly, and he doesn't give space to recover. On the other side, Brenson Ribeiro is a dangerous underdog, but lacks consistency and defensive reliability. Many analysts are predicting an early finish here, with Yakhyaev expected to dominate from the opening seconds. Ribeiro's only chance is landing something big early or catching a submission. But realistically, Yakhyaev's pace is too much. Prediction: Yakhyaev wins via round 1 TKO, dominant and one-sided. Ewing versus Estevam. This is a much closer fight than it looks. Ethan Ewing comes in as a slight favorite at around -140, largely due to his durability and cardio advantage. Ewing is a grinder. He absorbs pressure, keeps moving forward, and drags fights into deep waters. Estevam, however, is more technical and sharp early on, with good striking accuracy and movement. The interesting detail? Estevam missed weight, which could impact his cardio and performance late in the fight. Most predictions lean toward Ewing surviving early danger and taking over as the fight progresses. Prediction: Ethan Ewing wins via decision. Cardio and pressure make the difference. McMillan versus Zucchini. This fight is expected to be a showcase for Tommy McMillan. He's a massive betting favorite, around minus 1,300, indicating a huge skill gap. McMillan is explosive, powerful, and extremely dangerous early. Sakini, returning after a long layoff, faces a brutal test against a fighter in peak form. Experts across platforms are almost unanimous. This fight likely doesn't go the distance. McMillan's finishing ability combined with Sakini's inactivity creates a dangerous mismatch. Prediction: Tommy McMillan wins via round 1 KO, highlight reel finish. Delano versus Ruchala. This fight might be the sleeper of the card. Jose Delano enters as a strong favorite, minus 345, thanks to his dynamic striking and movement. Delano uses range beautifully, mixing kicks and angles, making him hard to hit clean. But Robert Ruchala is a dangerous underdog with strong grappling and upset potential. Some betting analysts even highlight Ruchala as a live underdog pick, meaning this could be closer than odds suggest. The key question: can Ruchala close distance and impose grappling? If not, Delano dominates on the feet. Prediction: Jose Delano wins via decision. But don't be surprised if this becomes a war. Pat versus Peterson heavyweight bout. This heavyweight clash is all about power versus durability. Pat brings explosive knockout ability, with most of his wins coming inside the first round. Peterson, however, is the more experienced and durable fighter, known for surviving early storms and dragging opponents into deeper rounds. Statistically, Pat has the edge in power, but his cardio is a big question mark. Peterson lands fewer strikes but absorbs well and keeps pushing forward. Betting odds slightly favor Pat due to his finishing ability, sitting around minus 150. Prediction: Pat wins via round 1 KO. Power makes the difference early. Costa versus Nicol, flyweight bout. This is a classic speed versus technique matchup. Costa is aggressive, constantly moving forward with high-volume striking. Nicol, on the other hand, is more technical, with cleaner combinations and better defensive awareness. Stats show Costa throws more, but Nicol lands more accurately. Betting odds are close, with a slight lean toward Costa due to pressure fighting. Experts are divided here, but many believe Nicol's composure and precision will shine over 3 rounds. Prediction: Nicol wins via decision. Cleaner striking steals rounds. Venata versus Flowers, lightweight bout. This fight is pure chaos potential. Lando Venata is one of the most unpredictable fighters. Creative striking, flashy techniques, and submission threats. Flowers is more straightforward, relying on pressure and physicality. Statistically, Venata has better striking accuracy and experience against higher-level competition. Betting odds slightly favor him at around minus 160. Analysts largely agree, if Venata fights smart, he wins. But his inconsistency always keeps things interesting. Prediction: Venata wins via decision. Experience and creativity carry him. Pereira versus Cowan, women's bantamweight. This is a striker versus grinder matchup. Pereira prefers to keep things standing, using range and combinations. Cowan, however, is all about takedowns and control. Stats favor Pereira in striking output, while Cowan has the edge in grappling control time. Betting odds are very close, reflecting how competitive this fight is. Most predictions lean toward whoever imposes their game first. Prediction: Pereira wins via decision, keeps fight standing, and controls pace. Yakhyaev versus Gore, middleweight bout. This is a high-intensity matchup between two explosive fighters. Yakhyaev brings strong wrestling and top control, while Gore is known for his knockout power and aggression. Statistically, Gore has higher finishing ability, but Yakhyaev is more consistent across all areas. Betting odds slightly favor Yakhyaev due to his grappling advantage. Experts believe this fight could end early, but if it goes longer, Yakhyaev takes over. Prediction: Yakhyaev wins via decision. Wrestling neutralizes Gore's power. Barbosa versus Gatto, women's flyweight bout. This fight is expected to be highly technical. Barbosa is aggressive, constantly pushing forward with volume striking. Gatto is more balanced, mixing, striking with strong grappling control. Stats show Gatto has better overall fight and adaptability. Betting odds slightly favor her due to her well-rounded skill set. Analysts across platforms mostly lean toward Gatto controlling the fight, especially if she mixes in takedowns effectively. Prediction: Gatto wins via decision. Well-rounded game secures victory.